Step even further back in time and learn the true story of how two aliens became king and how the bastard son of bats was first sired. All this and more in the pages of Dark Knights of Steel issue number 4. Let's hop on in together and find out what happens next, shall we? So then, picking up directly from where the last issue had left off, Sir Alfred had just narrowly managed to save the life of Prince Bruce Wayne after coming in contact with some kryptonite. Prince Bruce had only recently discovered his dual human Kryptonian nature and that he is coming into his own powers, and with that also comes new weaknesses. While he recovers from this near-death experience, Alfred figures there's no time like now than to tell Bruce the true origin of the House of L. You see, after Jor and Lara came to Earth, they were actually quickly able to eke out a very nice little existence for themselves deep in the forest. Earth was surely proving to be a great place to raise their son. Unfortunately, the good times couldn't last forever, as using their super senses, they were able to clue into a local volcano set to erupt soon. And while the two Kryptonians could very easily have just flown away and start a new life somewhere else, they didn't want to do that, knowing that the nearby kingdom ruled by the Wayne family would have been decimated. And because the L's already lost one homeland because of ecological destruction, they're certainly not going to let this happen a second time. Luckily, they're both brilliant scientists, and were very quickly able to sketch out a plan that would allow the nearby castle to divert lava flow and save a lot of lives. Unfortunately, when they decided to take this proposition to the Waynes, they instead were met by the king and queen's jealous vizier, a learned man who was also deeply petty, a man by the name of Alexander Luthor. Luthor never did warn the king and queen, believing his own star charts and medieval chicanery to be much more trustworthy than this otherworldly alien science. Meaning that on the day that the volcano finally did explode, Jor and Lara had no choice but to go and meet with King Thomas and Queen Martha face to face. Obviously, due to the rampant superstition, their meeting was not exactly warm, with all of the guards believing them to be some sort of bloodthirsty demon couple. Jarrell and Lara knew that Thomas and Martha were good people, but at the same time they had no real reason to trust them because they were outsiders and strangers. As a show of good faith, they actually let Martha hold little baby Cal, while they themselves flew out into the field and put their own bodies within the path of the lava, saving all of the peasantry. Doing so, as you might have guessed, made them heroes and champions to the entire land. As far as Luthor, he was stripped of his lands and titles and cast out of the kingdom. It was while in exile, though, he discovered that the elves weren't the only things that came to Earth. He found a mysterious green crystal, which inside it had the power of a Green Lantern. It was on that day that Alexander Luthor was changed forever, from a simple vizier to the deadly and dangerous Green Man. But more on that later. It was after this that the houses of L and Wayne grew closer than ever before. In fact, as Alfred explains, Jor and Martha grew a little too close one night. Oh sure, they may have been kings and gods, but at the end of the day they couldn't be more human. They had their own weaknesses and shortfalls. And while at first King Thomas was furious over this betrayal, eventually that anger grew to hope and happiness once Bruce was born. See, Thomas couldn't actually father any children of his own. And yet here he had now the son that he always wanted. In a way, Bruce's birth actually ended up keeping the kingdom together when it could very easily have all fallen apart. Unfortunately, no one could have guessed what tragedy would befall this happy family unit next. It was on a trip to Amazonia that the royal carriage convoy came under attack by the Green Man. This alien power had completely corrupted the mind of Alexander Luthor and drove him utterly insane. Yes, that's right, the Green Man is this universe's Luthor and Joker simultaneously. How about that? He's also kind of Joe Chill too, because he ends up killing Thomas and Martha. This horrible crime, of course, a big reason why the Realm and the House of L were so quick to condemn all other superpowered individuals as villains. It was with her dying breath that Martha Wayne asked Lara and the L's to assume the mantle of king and queen. That they were good people, smart people, strong people, and that in time they may even have gotten the peasantry to forgive Bruce's bastard status and allow him to ascend to the throne one day when the time was right. And that time might very well be now. King Jarrell is dead and they need to crown a brand new king, so why not the bastard King of Bats as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Dark Knights of Steel issue number 4, everybody. A fun little flashback issue that fills in a lot of the blanks in this brand new medieval universe. I like this take on Jorah and Lara, not only were they ostracized because they were strange alien visitors, but also because they were smart scientists in an age when people really didn't understand anything about anything. It's also a hell of a family dynamic Tom Taylor is giving us here, wherein Bruce and Clark basically grew up as brothers. And oh sure, they all love each other now and everything, but it wouldn't be a Game of Thrones style story about medieval succession to the crown without there being some bad blood and brother versus brother going on. The Green Man reveal is ultimately pretty funny too, as it seems that every theory everyone had going in was actually correct. He's an evil Green Lantern, he's Lex Luthor, he's the Joker, actually he's all these things. Beyond that, I don't know if there was anything particularly explosive or jaw-dropping about this issue, but it was good. It was real good, and I would give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.